Movies. We watch movies. You listen to us talk about movies that we watched without you.
It's beautiful.
Thanks. Dark Tower, 18% on Rotten Tomatoes. That's 3 times the Emoji Movie.
So, Adam, I'm going to pretend like we just came upon this conversation naturally and ask you, are you interested in the Dark Tower movie or the Dark Tower series in general?
I picked up the entire series of Dark Tower books in anticipation for the movie because it had been talked about for a long time, and kind of when the casting news broke that Idris Elba and Matthew McConaughey were gonna star in it.
Yeah.
I said, this seems cool. I'm gonna get these books so I can get all up on it. And I am almost done with the first book.
How long did it take you to read? Because I've been trying to find the books. I guess I should have just looked at Amazon because I was trying to go to bookstores and they have maybe just one of them or 2 of them.
Why would you support local brick and mortar bookstores when you could go online to a giant corporation?
Because I care about my community, Adam.
Kill the mother and fathers. Mother and father shops.
It's not how America was built on, Adam. It's about the mom and grop shops, not the big corporate evil corporations.
I'm all about supporting the Washington Compost and its owner Jeff Bezos. Spread
Trump
his
TV.
lies.
That's what we need, Trump TV.
But yeah, Dark Tower.
Yeah.
So I was kind of excited, and then the trailer came out, and it was... I didn't think the trailer was as bad as a lot of other people thought, and I wonder if part of that is things change in the books as they go.
Mm-hmm.
I'm probably 3/4 of the way through the first book right now. And, yeah, now 18% on Rotten Tomatoes, and everybody's saying that it's a mess and that there was, conflicting views about what it is and what it should be.
Yeah, from knowing not much about the Dark Tower and not reading too much Stephen King, I've read stuff here and there. I've seen a lot of the Stephen King movie adaptions, but even those are iffy because there's so many of them. And so many are like, Kubrick did The Shining, but that's totally different than the book.
Yeah, and Stephen King hates The Shining and remade his own TV version of the movie. And he apparently says that the Dark Tower movie is pretty good, according to Stephen King, who is not a movie critic.
No, he's definitely not. So from afar, it seems pretty cool because I like what he did. It seems like he's connected all of his stories, and the Dark Tower is that culmination of all his work, pretty much, from what I take. And I really dig that. And so I could see how that would be very hard to make into one movie.
Right. And so the Dark Tower book, as far as I could see, the differences from the trailer and the book aren't that different. Like, I don't know, it wasn't a different total view of the world. I think that there's just some things, especially when it gets more fantastical, it's hard to represent certain things that happen, where leaving it up to the human imagination in a book form, it's just harder to make it visually like what you want it to be.
Yeah.
The example I was telling you earlier was about The Giver, the book, which just like you can't do it as a movie. There's just like reveals and turns in it that it just doesn't make sense if you were able to see through the character's eyes the whole time.
Right.
But if you're listening to this, view of a narrator through book form, and then it just kind of guides what your vision is. I don't know.
You can do certain tricks in book form that you can't in visual form.
And that's one of the reasons why people always say, oh, the books are better than the movies.
Well, the books have more time to explain things.
And give inner monologue and, and it's just kind of a world that whatever you want it to be, it is.
Yeah. You could pronounce Hermione Hermione for 3 books if you want.
This sounds personal.
It does. It is personal.
You called her Hermy one?
Yeah, I cannot pronounce the name. Hermione. Oh, after the movies, I'm like, oh, no, actually after, because I would read the books and listen to the audiobooks.
Uh-huh. So
I learned it from there. It's Hermione for the audiobooks.
I did.
Shout out to the Harry Potter audiobooks, by the way.
Oh.
Shout out.
I said Slytherin.
Slytherin.
Which, I mean,
yeah, it could work. I mean, it kind of
It's fits. A Y. Come on.
Yeah.
Guys. I don't know.
Yeah, so it's too bad. The books seem really interesting. How long of a read is it? I mean, the first one was fairly short, right?
The first one's, pretty short.
Yeah.
As they go, they get thicker and thicker. Mm-hmm. One of the things that was interesting about the Dark Tower book that I got, at the beginning, there's a thing from Stephen King, and he's like, hey, I actually wrote this a long time ago, and the character isn't really in this book what it becomes in later books. So I just went ahead and I just kind of like rewrote everything that this character did. So I don't know if that's may also be part of
that's weird.
Why my perception's a little altered, because Stephen King went back and said, no, he's kind of going to be this way from the beginning now.
It's kind of a George Lucas
finding his way. Yeah. Exactly. It's a very George Lucas move.
Yeah, you don't ever, I guess because it's a book and people aren't, unless they're hardcore fans, you don't really hear about that. That's interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's a very George Lucas-y move. He has some George Lucas tendencies, Stephen King does. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, certainly with, I mean, The Shining being the most obvious example of saying, this isn't what my work should be.
Mm-hmm. I still want to see a movie. I know they did a short TV series, but I'd like to see maybe another TV series at The Stand, because that's a really cool book. Yeah, The Stand's awesome.
Cool.
Anyway.
Hey, who are you?
Oh, hey, Adam. I'm Trey Mitchell. This is Super FilmsCast 64.
Oh, wow.
This is a show about film.
Oh, yeah. Oh, it's been so long since you've heard us discuss films.
It's been 2 weeks. We had some contract negotiations and just a horrible, rigorous battle of money and contracts and who's getting what. And then Adam was he had his lawyers, I had my lawyers, and our lawyers started fighting. And it was it was bloody. It was bad. We lost some friends. We lost some friendships.
Mm-hmm. I lost a Sunset, a retractable awning.
Yeah, I lost, what is the stupid water we have now? Core Energy Water. I lost that. I lost those sponsors.
Mm-hmm.
We lost some of our humanity too, but we came out on the end, and we're doing good. We're still doing the podcast for now.
It was a real time of trials and growth.
Growth, yes, definitely. Spiritual growth.
So hopefully we come out on the other side bigger and better than ever.
Yes, bigger and better. We had a great montage set to Landslide, where we kind of just stared off in the distance. And at the end, we kind of came together and shook hands. So it was good. Yeah, it was good. It's good.
And now we're back.
Adam, how you doing?
I'm doing all right, Trey.
Doing all right?
Yeah, I'm doing all right.
All right.
I've been watching things.
Yeah.
I've been living things.
Been living? Keep living?
I've been loving things. And I've been laughing things.
Just laughing.
You know what I like to... It's just a little phrase that I came up with.
What's your phrase?
Live, laugh, love. I came up with it.
Well, that's Super FilmsCast 64.
Don't worry about
it next week.
I came up with it. You can use it. Just make sure you tell everybody.
You see, you had some, great lines. Came up like with you have laugh and a half. You got
live, laugh and a half, love and a half. Live and a half, laugh and a half, love and a half.
Live and a half, laugh and a half, love and a half.
Oh, I think that's a T-shirt. Super FilmsCast 64.
That is a T-shirt
merch.
Well, we should do a merch store at one point.
Yeah, I'll make it, and I'll just have boxes of shirts in my house.
We'll keep them at the hang zone.
No,
yeah,
that's true.
Yeah. How's it looking now?
Oh, it's good.
Mm-hmm.
In case you're not familiar, myself, Trey, Austin, and some other friends went in to buy a...
Well, I didn't buy it, but I'll put down money.
I thought you did.
No, I'll keep it around, though. I mean, how much you want for another month of it?
I don't know. It's not me. It's Austin that you'd have to deal with. He's the man running point on this.
No, he doesn't keep me in the loop at all. So.
I thought that you were in. Well, you're an intern.
Yeah, I'm the intern.
That's right.
But I'll buy my way in like I bought my way into the ticket.
Yeah. Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
So we rented a storefront at the Valley View Mall, which is being torn down. Maybe in the next month, maybe never. We don't know.
This could go on forever.
More than likely in the next month.
Mm-hmm.
So rent was super cheap, and we split it up amongst a bunch of people to rent this storefront, just to have a place to come and hang out.
Just hang.
Yeah, we got a N64 in there, a VCR. Someone came by, and they gave us a repeat customer.
Oh.
And they came and they brought us some VHS tapes to play.
I have some VHSs at home I might bring.
Well, there you go.
What they bring?
They brought Are We There Yet? Which I think maybe the last movie ever put on VHS.
Keep going. I'm going to look at what the last VHS is.
I don't think it was that. I think it
But that's
it was 2005, I think, from looking at the box. They also brought a NFL Films Football Follies video.
Nice.
Where
I might have
you get to see all kinds of bloops and goofs.
Yeah.
And it was so weird. At one point, they just cut to the OJ trial announcement.
Oh no!
They were like, "Look at this goof. He
goof.
got off innocent." It was unbelievable.
I have the Super Bowl Shuffle on VHS.
Oh, really? That's a cool one.
And I might have some Three Stooges too. I bought those for my dad way back in the day. He still has those. I'm looking for the last movie released on VHS.
Okay. Well, so I'll vamp until then.
Yeah.
So we had most of the people that have been there are teenagers, and teenagers are scary and mostly mean.
Mm-hmm. They're hoodlums.
Yeah, they are.
They're hoodlums.
These mall rats,
like Clockwork Orange,
came by.
Yeah.
Their eyes are red as the devil's butt, and
I thought it was the dick.
Well, I didn't want to directly copy it, so they came in.
See, I'm all about copying and stealing ideas.
And then they went and they just started roughing up the store. And the Hang Zone has 2 rules.
Yeah.
1, there are no rules.
Ooh.
And 2, respect the zone.
I like those 2 rules. Were they the same? Because I remember the couple that came in who invited you guys to the luau.
Yeah.
And then I remember the two teens that came in.
Right. So those 2 teens were the ones that came back and gave us the VHS tape. A whole pack of them came out from seeing Baby Driver. They were all revved up off that high-octane thriller.
Just thrills and sugar, salt, and fat.
Yeah, they had popcorn all over their fingers.
Just hooked up on Mountain Dew, and Dr. Pepper, and just all the candy, the bunch of crunches.
Yeah, and they came in and they threw the balls around and knocked some ceiling tiles. And it's like the whole point of the Hang Zone is to have fun. So I feel like a real big jerk to be like, "Hey guys, how about you calm it down?" Mm-hmm. But
see, I want to make. I need to write it this week. I'm gonna make a commercial for the Hang Zone.
Okay.
And I want to run the script by you in Austin.
Okay. And we can run it?
Yeah. I want to. Oh, yeah, totally. Because I want to film it maybe this weekend. And then,
okay.
Yeah. Also want to maybe do that new art video in there, like a scene in there. That's all right.
Man, the Hang Zones are no rules. You can do whatever you want there, man.
But I want to do just like a fun commercial for the Hang Zone.
I think that'd be cool.
Like kind of like DC Discovery Zone, or like, hey kids, what are you doing today? Man, I'm bored. Well, you got a Hang Zone. You can get to have fun at the Hang Zone. It's the Hang. Yeah, all that.
I think that's cool. Run it through the VHS.
Yeah.
Bang it around a little bit while it's in there.
Mm-hmm.
Make it look all old.
Yeah, 100%.
I'm down for that.
So,
any success?
The last major Hollywood VHS. All right, let's see if you can guess. It was released on March 14th, 2006.
2006. Okay, so Are We There Yet was pretty late because that was 2005. So in 2006, a 2005 movie, Harry Potter.
Yeah, I don't know if you'll guess this. It's a very. It's.
I'm gonna still guess Harry Potter, even though
it's not Harry Potter.
Oh, okay.
It's not a. It's a famous movie, but not like a, big budget action, summer blockbuster.
Was it that Pirates of the Caribbean porn remake?
No, it's
that
a real
cost like
movie.
$1 million.
No,
porn's ahead of the curve. They wouldn't be stuck around in the VHS. I bet Girls Gone Wilds were on VHS for a little longer than they should have been.
Mm-hmm.
The Ringer with Johnny Knoxville playing a Down syndrome.
No, it's not that one. I saw that though. It is A History of Violence.
Okay.
Yeah, that was the last one.
That's Viggo Mortensen.
Viggo Mortensen.
Viggo Mortensen.
Who played...
That's his name.
Aragon on Lord of the Rings.
Ooh.
Yeah.
The Lard of the Rings.
It's just a bunch of fat hobbits doing things.
They have second breakfast.
What about second breakfast?
11's?
Afternoon tea, dinner, supper. They have those, right? I can go on forever. You don't want me to start. Trust me. We can do a whole show.
All right.
Well, we're not going to do that.
Okay, well.
So anyway.
What are we going to do?
Go to the hang zone.
Oh, yeah.
And have fun.
Mm-hmm. You guys, I'm Adam Fullerton, and I'm also on this podcast.
Yeah, I said your name.
I don't know if we did.
Yeah, I said your name, Adam Fullertron.
I think you dropped an Allen in there.
Alan Fullerton.
Yep, that's me.
Right, so what have you been watching, Adam?
Oh boy, I've been watching a lot. The reason that we couldn't go to do this show last week, I went to Tim and Eric's live show.
Yeah. How was that? I hear it was a laugh and a half, as some people like to say.
Who says that?
I don't know. It's a line. I made it up, actually. I made it up.
Oh wow, interesting.
Yeah.
It was so great. I've seen them live. I think 6 times. Mm-hmm. Everyone, so great. This one was their anniversary tour, so it was a little more of the bits, like redoing bits.
Yeah.
That they've already done. So that was...
Bitch y'all know and love.
Yeah. So, like, you know it, but it's also like, I mean, it's not quite as original.
Do the Absolute Vodka commercial?
They did not. No. There was no Zach Galifianakis
Damn
there.
It.
So, I've been watching that. I've been watching the new episodes of Wet Hot American Summer, 10 years later. So far, I'm 3 episodes in, and it's oddly not that weird yet.
Mm-hmm.
Which is kind of their whole thing.
Yeah.
So
because I've not seen it, but I like the bit where the sequel they made was a prequel to the original movie.
Right.
I like that bit.
Yeah. So it was like 15 years after the first movie was made,
mm-hmm.
and then they went back to do 10 episodes 2 years ago, and
mm-hmm.
now they're doing 10 more episodes, but that's in the future, and so it's like in the 90s. So far, it's my least favorite of the 3 like iterations,
mm-hmm.
but to be determined. We'll see if it keeps going. You should watch that movie. You should watch
the original and the remake, or no, I guess the sequel.
Just
prequel.
Watch the. I mean, the prequel is a full season of TV.
Oh, okay.
It's 5 hours, so I would just say watch the movie.
Yeah.
And then if you like it, go back and watch the prequel stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I think the movie's really, really funny. And it's kind of a precursor to kind of more the absurdity that has come after. So I've been watching that. I've been rewatching Breaking Bad.
Okay. Which
has been enjoyable. Watching Game of Thrones.
You liking it?
Yeah. This last episode was pretty good. I don't understand. Some people are saying, "Oh, that was the best episode of all time." I don't think it was. I think people are very recency biased.
Oh, I agree. Especially with Game of Thrones. I think it's the audience is so mainstream now.
Yeah.
That you're going to have a lot of that recency bias. You're going to have a lot of people, giving spoilers online. I had a whole tweet about it.
I'm sure that part of it is that when you're binging,
mm-hmm.
so let's say you start and you have to watch 5 seasons, and you watch 5 seasons in a month or whatever, then it's kind of hard to like all episodes kind of blend together.
Sure.
And so now, which I think is happening for a lot of people, and it was happening for Breaking Bad people as well, where they experience the show in a different way. And now that it's week by week, and you can have that week of relaxation and being like, wow, that was great,
mm-hmm.
and not just, okay, I'll watch the next one now.
Yeah.
It lets you kind of stew in it and think that it's better than it actually is.
Yeah, I can see that. How do you feel about, how do you like watching shows? Do you like binging, or do you like it week by week?
I prefer week by week if I can.
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with binging shows, and I think that there are some shows that it's better.
I think Stranger Things benefited from being a binge show.
Right.
Because that felt like a very long movie, but well paced.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I don't think that there was any... Because just thinking about it, I can't think of what necessarily happened in a singular episode besides the pilot.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think that's a good call by you. It is very much like a movie where there's no real end.
There's no cliffhanger ever really.
Right.
At the end of any episode, it was kind of continuous.
Right.
Whereas I think certain shows, like I think Lost, and I bring up Lost all the time.
All the time. I was going to bring it up if you didn't.
I think that benefited from being week to week.
I think it would have too. I binged it, and I feel like I missed something out, and I feel the same way with The Leftovers.
Yeah.
Where I would have much rather been, part of the people trying to figure it out, just because it's so weird and off the wall, and there's so much that you don't know. I think shows like that are benefit more in a week-to-week setting.
Where there's like a mystery where you can kind of have a community and talk to people, and you're kind of now more involved in the show than just being a passive watcher.
Right.
I think, yeah. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I think give or take. I kind of like the old way, but yeah, I agree. I think there's a lot of shows that do benefit, and like Stranger Things, there could be more shows like that where you're making a long movie, but it's split up in a good way. It's sort of like kind of how, I know it's a video game, but Breath of the Wild came out this year. And it was great where it was this big open world game, but you could play it in pieces. And you could play as long as you want, but it's good in pieces, and it's also good all together, and it kind of makes a whole experience. So, yeah. Anyway, anything else you've been watching, I guess?
I watched, if we're allowed to go into
allowed to go anywhere you want.
Into films we've seen. I watched Atomic Blonde.
Okay.
Did you watch Atomic Blonde?
I have not yet.
Okay. Do you care if I'm not going to spoil it.
I want to see it, but I mean, it seems sort of a by the numbers action movie.
I'm not going to spoil it.
Don't spoil it.
I didn't like it.
Okay.
Charlize Theron is great. The action scenes are pretty great. It's super annoying in the vein of a director who is like, I'm gonna base this whole thing around this just like feeling, which is, it seems a little hypocritical of me because that's basically what Baby Driver is.
Sure.
But it's all about, there's going to be a neon color palette, and we're going to have this punk rock, this kind of late 80s punk rock, and that's what every single thing's going to be. And I just feel like the director's super up his own ass about it, and I just have a vision in his head of him just being like, this fucking rules, man. This is... And there's a lot of cool stuff.
It's like Tarantino, but better, man. It's so good.
It's like there's a lot of cool stuff. There's a lot of cool elements.
Well, it's like Hobo with a Shotgun. I felt sort of the same feeling you're feeling about that movie. Where it was like, yeah, this is trying way too hard to be edgy over the top.
Right.
It was not good, and it was just like, yeah, I get what they're going for, but it's up its own ass. Yeah.
And then there's the plot, which again, I'm not going to spoil anything.
Is it kind of by the numbers, or is
No, it's not.
Okay.
But it's in a bad way.
Okay.
To where you kind of don't really understand anything that's going on, but they're doing it because the story's not that interesting. So instead, they just make it confusing. Do you ever watch that sort of thing where they're like, oh, it'll keep the audience guessing, when really
just a lot of
they're
twists.
Just doing a lot of stuff that this doesn't really make much sense at all.
Vague to just be vague. And,
right.
Yeah.
But you see Charlene Theron nips.
You do see nips.
She has a lesbo scene.
I've seen that in the trailers.
It's longer in the actual movie.
Did you?
It's I don't know. I would, if you don't have anything better to see, there's worse things that you could go. You could go see the Emoji Movie. So I wouldn't do that.
I think the only two other like blockbuster movies in theaters right now that I need to see are that and Spider-Man. I still haven't seen Spider-Man.
I still haven't seen Spider-Man either.
Yeah.
I'm slacking big time because I've heard from people that I need to go see it.
Yeah.
That, and then I want to see Ghost Story.
Yeah, that's another one I heard that's really good too.
Which,
Ghost Story.
I think is interesting. That guy's from Dallas, I guess.
Really?
The guy who directed it.
Let's get him on. Let's get him on the show.
Yeah, all right. Let's get that Ghost Man in.
Yeah. Hey, Ghost Man.
But Atomic Blonde, I think, is something that will probably be on Netflix in not too long, and it's not really enhanced by the theater experience. You could watch it. I think it would be way more enjoyable in the background on Netflix while you're kind of doing other things.
Yeah, playing the Switch.
Than sitting down and trying to focus. And okay, so who is this? What is this happening?
I'm starting to, I don't know if it's me, but I'm starting to get confused in movies. Like, at least in the beginning, like, I'm having trouble following. The last few movies I've seen, I've had trouble following a little bit. And for some reason or another, I don't know. Maybe it's me. Maybe I'm just distracted.
Well, we're gonna start talking Detroit here lately, and I think that that and Dunkirk, which is another movie, I think that they kind of have similar.
They're very
opens.
similar. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think there's a lot of similarities in those two movies in general.
Mm-hmm.
So when we get to that, we'll talk to that a little bit more.
So I've seen a whole bunch of movies.
A
whole bunch.
Let's do it.
Let's go through the list.
Have you been not in theaters though? You've just been
just been watching.
Just burning through.
A lot of it is for the video game film school stuff for Metal Gear Solid 2.
Ooh.
Plug. If I ever finish that. And then I have a few other projects. But and some of these I just kind of wanted to see as well. Like, they're not just, I mean, they're like movies that, I do want to see still, but they're also for the video. At least these are. There's sometimes they're not. But in these cases, they are.
Okay.
I watched The Rock with Sean Connery. And Nicolas Cage.
Right.
And it might be the best Michael Bay movie ever, but
Did you ever see Pain and Gain?
I never saw Pain and Gain.
I really liked Pain and Gain.
That's Michael Bay?
That's Michael Bay and Mark Wahlberg and Anthony Mackie.
Okay.
That's one that I think that's another one that is kind of more fun to. I watched that one a little more closely.
Okay. I haven't seen it. So.
The Rock is also very good.
Yeah.
But that just brought up.
Sure.
I really liked Pain and Gain.
Okay.
Just kind of as like a silly, fun.
Sure.
It's kind of like Wolf of Wall Street ish.
Okay.
With steroids.
Dude, the trailers for I saw like the trailers for during Detroit. It seemed like it was either Wolf of Wall Street ripoffs or vigilante movies. It seemed like just
all the trailers before Detroit I thought were pretty awful.
Yeah. I was waiting. Like, that was the first time I'm like, okay, when is the movie going to start?
Yeah.
A lot of times I'm like, oh, keep the trailers coming, but then I was just like, okay, I'm done with these.
Yeah, there's a lot of dumb stuff.
Yeah, like the Bruce Willis movie. I'm like, okay.
Right. Mm-hmm.
It was like right after the
Sam
Foreigner.
Jackson. Oh, well, the Foreigner one.
That looks good, but it was like the same plot.
Yeah.
It's someone killed his family and now he's out for revenge.
Right.
Yeah, same plot.
And the only difference is Jackie Chan versus Bruce Willis, and I'm going to side with Jackie Chan.
Yeah, I'm going to side with Jackie. I love Bruce Willis, but give me Jackie Chan, you know. I haven't seen him in a while. I've seen enough of Bruce Willis.
Friggin' Bryce Willis.
So, yeah, The Rock, it was great.
Yeah.
Sean Connery's awesome. It's very telling, though. Like, certain things in there, like, very Michael Bay-ish, you know?
You can see those seeds.
Yeah, like
Transformers to come.
I watched the CinemaSins of that, and they called the gay character the blackface of gay characters.
Okay.
Like, it was so over the top.
Yeah.
And just, a lot of explosions, a lot of just dumb dialogue, but I think Nicolas Cage just nails just being stupid, though. He's brilliant at that.
I think he's really good at a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing about Nicolas Cage is he's going to go 100% into whatever he does.
And it's great. Like, if you don't take it seriously, it's hilarious.
Yeah.
He's awesome. And I'll talk about that later because I watched I'll just say I watched Face Off as well.
Okay. Yeah. Face Off fucking rules.
Dude, that's a fucking awesome movie. I'm surprised neither of John Travolta or Nicolas Cage won an Academy Award for that or any award for that because that was great acting.
You think so?
Acting. They had to pretend to be themselves and each other.
I could eat a peach for hours.
And one of the Nicolas Cage faces was in there that I've always seen. Like, oh, that's where that's from. Where he's like, oh.
Yeah. I could take my face. That movie,
Face. Oh.
I love that. I want to take his face off. And then he throws it off. And then like, okay, so he's John Travolta.
Mm-hmm.
It's super fun. The movie
it's a fun movie,
is so much fun, and it's ridiculous, and it's great.
Uh-huh.
But John Travolta as Nick Cage hitting on his own daughter, and his daughter being kind of into it, is a fun little side note to that movie. She's just like into her dad finally being cool and
cool
smoking.
dad.
The like hand over the face thing is so crazy. Makes me laugh so hard. The opening scene with the
kid on the him sniping the kid. That's kind of funny.
That's kind of funny. There's a boat crash where the boat just explodes into a fireball.
A lot of
at
doves, a lot of
Yeah.
John Woo.
Yeah,
staples.
all kinds of doves.
Yeah.
Let me think. What other?
Man.
The fight scene in the prison where they have the magnetic boots on, and
which doesn't make sense
when Nick Cage finally just, because he's John Travolta's character, and he's just like, I got to do this, and he's like, I'm Castor Troy, and then he's like celebrating, and then like really mad at himself, and then like all over it, like it's an insane performance, and it works.
It's does. Great. It's a great movie. Great performances. I enjoyed it.
That's one of my favorite like guilty pleasure movies.
I like the 90s action movies and late 80s. They're just amazing. Like they just had so much fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And things were allowed to be ridiculous for the sake of them being ridiculous. Now when they do stuff like that, there's kind of winks to the camera and like, hey, we get it. This is which is why I love Fast and the Furious, because Fast and the Furious is kind of a throwback to that in a way.
Yeah.
Where there's, all right, we're going to do it. Okay, so they switched faces. All right, so their bodies aren't exactly the same.
Yeah, and
who cares? We're just going to do it. It's fun.
I also watched Escape from L.A., the Escape from New York sequel. It was pretty much, and I'm kind of happy with this because it helps my video, but it's a little late. It was sort of almost a retelling of Escape from New York, but more ridiculous.
That's what I've heard. I haven't seen it. I've seen Escape from New York.
Yeah.
But I've heard it is basically the exact same thing.
It's the same movie, but way more over the top. In the end, he pretty much, I mean, I don't want to spoil it, but yeah, it's just very over the top.
Okay.
It's all right.
You can spoil movies from the 80s. It's
okay. He pretty much ends the world.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Like he pretty much does something where he just wipes out all telecommunication, all electronics, and we're back to the Stone Age.
Yeah.
That's Snake Plissken for you.
Because what are they going to do? They're going to do Escape from Chicago?
Escape from Dallas.
Escape from Houston?
Yeah.
You got to hit all
Houston.
the top 5 markets.
Yeah. Escape from... What would Escape from Dallas entail?
He's trapped, and the reunion tower is spinning super fast, and he's got a barf.
Is Jerry Jones the villain of that? Escape from Dallas?
Yeah.
Well, you see, Snake, you see, we got to go over here, and we got all these hostages, and you just got to save the president, or else we're going to give you a little this dye that's going to make you all sick, and better do this quickly. We got to save Tony Romo.
They have to save Tony Romo. Yeah. That's the whole plot.
It's weird that we never introduced Gordon.
Yeah.
Gordon, thank you for joining us on the show today.
Thank you. I'm just going to speak a fake Jerry for you.
All right, cool.
All right, anyway.
I'm
sorry, there's
he's leaving.
Lot more. There's a lot more.
Bye, Gordo.
Bye, Gordo.
Wow.
Last action hero.
He's so cool.
Such a nice guy to pop in. At
do this show.
9:43 at night.
He's got to be here in 5 hours.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
It's insane. It's just so great for him to come up.
Yeah.
I also watched The Last Action Hero, which is
haven't seen it.
It's probably it holds up very well. It's actually probably ahead of its time.
Okay.
It's Arnold Schwarzenegger. Well, actually, the story is about this kid living in New York, and he's getting picked on by bullies, and he loves movies. He loves the movies.
Uh-oh.
He isn't really picked on by bullies, but it's one of those things where like the thugs are just way over the top, like they put a knife to his throat and just stupid stuff like that. That wouldn't happen. But anyway, he loves movies and he loves action movies, and his favorite actor is pretty much Arnold Schwarzenegger. I think they even say Arnold Schwarzenegger. So
Okay.
Arnold Schwarzenegger is playing himself.
Okay.
And he's this action hero, and this kid gets this ticket that will transport him into any movie he wants. He gets transported into this Arnold Schwarzenegger action movie, and he's like in this action movie world, and it's like playing on all the tropes of action movies where he never dies, and it's always a car chase, and all the people at the blockbuster they go to, it's all the women are hot, all the people that work there are hot. The chief is just this black dude yelling at them like, "Hey, you can't do that!" And then just it's really funny. It plays on a lot of the tropes of action movies.
Nice.
And then he comes back into our world. And Arnold Schwarzenegger realizes that the same rules don't apply, and then the villain is actually Tyrion Lannister.
Oh,
yeah.
Tywin
Lannister, yeah.
Not
Lannister.
Peter Dinklage.
Not Peter Dinklage. It's Tywin Lannister.
That would be pretty funny to watch.
That would be pretty funny.
Peter Dinklage fight Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah, it would, actually. Actually does sound like an 80s Arnold Schwarzenegger movie.
Yeah.
But it's, he's the villain, and he comes back, and he realizes he can kill people and no one's really going to do it. Now, the cops are going to come right after him. He can do whatever he wants. And it's a really... Oh, and Ian McKellen's there randomly as, like, Death. Like, it's a really good movie. I would recommend watching it. It's kind of a fun play on action movie, tropes and genre.
If you could get warped into any movie, what movie would you get warped into?
Man. It probably Harry Potter.
That'd be a fun one.
Yeah, like that'd be fun. Like you might say like Blade Runner, but that's really just disturbing.
Yeah, it's dystopian.
Lord of the Rings, that's probably you wouldn't want to live there. But Harry Potter's all mystical and magical. What about you?
Boogie Nights.
All right, Boogie Nights is a good one. All right, yeah, sure.
Yep.
See what? Yeah, all right, yeah, okay. I finally saw Get Out.
Oh,
yeah.
I didn't realize you hadn't seen it.
Yeah, I hadn't seen it yet. And that's another movie. I think it was because I was like drinking at night and watching it, and that I didn't catch the twist until I watched something afterwards.
Oh no!
And because I didn't catch the whole twist. I'm not going to spoil it because it is fairly new, but I didn't catch the twist.
If anyone hasn't seen Get Out, then,
Get Out.
Yeah, tell them to get out. Let's talk about this movie.
All right, you want to talk about it?
Yes.
Okay, we'll talk about it. I didn't realize that it was like Invasion of the Body Snatchers until I saw a CinemaSins thing about it.
Oh, man.
I'm like, was I that drunk watching it?
You were, because they lay it out very clearly.
I just didn't get it.
They explain it all in that scene when he's sitting in the chair and they have the TV.
Mm-hmm. I thought it was I thought it might have been I don't know. I forgot what I was even thinking. But yeah, I guess I didn't get it. I just don't get it. Oh, well, no, wait a minute. I think I got that.
What did you think happened?
I think I got that they wanted to... Oh, no, I'm sorry. I got that they wanted to give him the body. Like, they wanted to put his mind in his body. I didn't get that the grandparents were in the two people. Yeah, I think that's what I didn't get. I got that part, but I didn't get that the two helpers were the grandparents.
Right.
I think that's what I did not get.
Okay.
Yeah. But I might just have been like drinking and watching a movie where I probably should have been thinking.
I mean, it's kind of clear.
Yeah,
it's laid out pretty.
I really feel bad about that.
The more it is one of a movie where, like, as you think back about everything, every single line,
it all makes sense.
It all kind of goes to the one point that everyone all the lines have meaning. There's not really any throwaway lines, there are a lot of things seem like jokes or funny and stuff, but they're actually all driving towards the same point,
which is really going back and all the comments oh yeah, you're really big, you're really tall, you an athlete,
and you ever play golf,
all that stuff. It's like it's trying to kind of show the awkwardness of kind of people being racist, but
being racist,
polite,
but they were also
they
just wanted to size him up because
they wanted his body,
right?
It was really clever. It made total sense,
and I see why it's so popular, because it is something that in the internet age where people can be like, hey, did you notice this? And everybody's like, oh yeah, that's so crazy. And
It wasn't as scary as I thought it was going to be. It was more sci-fi kind of,
It's more of a psychological thing. There's not really like I would consider we're going to talk about Detroit more of a horror movie than
totally
than Get
100%.
Out. Even though it is a horror movie. It's just a different kind. It's not there are a few jump scares. But for the most part, I think it's just a really, really well done movie. And I
want to watch it again.
I think it's something that would be. I think just in general, you should watch it twice.
Yes,
because it's one of those movies where after the reveal, you can go back and look and see all the kind of hints and clues that were dropped along the way that you didn't necessarily pick up on. Lil Ray Howard, or whatever, the guy who plays the TSA agent.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah, he was really good. I thought he was going to be kind of over the top, but no, he was really good.
He was over the top.
But like in a more of a corny way.
Right.
Yeah.
No,
he was really good.
It's kind of great because it's a really awesome trope that they were able to use, where they were able to use him as like the voice of the audience.
Yeah, but
because he is the audience for that story within that world. He is the audience because he's outside of it looking into it.
And I like that
like
he was also and he was also proactive too. Like he was trying to figure out what was going on and try to be proactive. Like he wasn't just the funny friend. He was like, he was essential to the story,
right?
Where he had to be there.
Yep.
Yeah. And I thought, that was really good.
And I don't know, I wasn't a huge Key and Peele guy. I enjoy some of their stuff, other stuff not as much.
They're no Tim and Eric.
No, I would no. But I am super encouraged by Jordan Peele writing and directing that movie. I thought it was really well directed, and I'm pro comedians writing movies because I think that they can be very insightful, and not writing comedy movies.
Well, yeah, a lot of that stuff was very tense in the fact that just being a stranger. I guess that's sort of the Invasion of the Body Snatchers. The whole idea of being a stranger in a very, strange place, strange world where there's a bunch of people and everyone's trying to be polite, but everyone just comes off really bad, you know. And it's like, man, have I ever done that? Have I ever said anything like that?
Yeah.
No, And I thought he did great at that, and then just kind of making it about it's this whole other thing. It's this whole foreign concept, but it's also so
based in reality.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
There's right.
And
where it's things that would happen in reality. The beginning's so reality based that it makes the ridiculous stuff. It makes you buy in that much harder.
Because of course that's obviously happening. But oh wow, this is what's really going on. Yeah, I like that a lot. It was very smartly done. Jordan Peele also was set to direct Akira, but then he dropped because he didn't want to do like pre-written material. But this is a good segue to talk about Akira.
Because you watched Akira.
I watched Akira, which is an anime from 1988.
Yes.
And that was the year I was born. When were you born?
91.
Okay. Not that far from there.
No.
So Akira, it's this movie. It's about these it's supposed to take place after World War III. This humongous it wasn't a nuclear bomb, but it was like this big explosion happened in Tokyo in 2000 something, and it spurred World War III. This is after World War III. This is like 2029, a year before the 2030 Tokyo Olympics.
Okay.
And guess what? Guess who's hosting the Olympics in 2030 this year? Or 2030?
Tokyo.
Yep.
Okay.
It predicted the Tokyo Olympics of 2030.
Great.
Which is kind of awesome.
That's cool.
It's Neo Tokyo. Tokyo is now Neo Tokyo. It looks like it's Blade Runner. This is an anime. This is all hand drawn also.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen Akira?
I haven't watched the movie.
Okay.
I know the art style. I've seen clips of it.
So pretty much this group of teenage hoodlums, biker gang, they're just up to no good, causing a ruckus. And there's like this esper, I think they call it an esper, and it's like this like really weird looking little kid, and he's supposed to have like telekinetic powers. They're fighting this other rival gang, and the main guy, I forgot their name, Setsuai, that's all I can hear. Sasewa!
Oh no.
Sasewa! I forgot. Anyway, I'm gonna stop doing that. So anyway, he crashes in to the kid, and then afterwards he starts to get like these headaches, and he gets taken to a lab where they test on him, and they realize, oh, this guy has the same power as Akira, which was the person who caused the explosion like so many years back. And they realize that this kid has the same thing, and he starts getting like headaches and migraines. He pretty much turns and like he pretty much has psychic powers, and that's kind of I'm not gonna go farther, but man, this movie was fantastic.
I've heard it's one of the best movies of all time.
Yeah, it might be one of my favorite movies of all time. I don't know why it struck such a chord with me. I bought it on Blu-ray. I'm going to watch it again pretty soon. But it was a lot of elements that I like in movies.
Mm-hmm.
And also it kind of reminded me of a lot of movies I liked in general. Like, it was very much like Chronicle. Have you ever seen Chronicle?
No.
Okay.
But I know you've talked about it before, I think, about how
it's kind of like that, in the fact that it's like these two friends, and one of the friends becomes a monster, and the two friends face off. It has a lot to do with post World War II Japan, and especially like post
Hiroshima and Nagasaki.
Well, yeah, and also just like the Olympics in 1960 in Japan, and just how like the economy was like becoming one of the biggest economies, and they were starting to lose their culture, and it was a lot to do with that, which I found really fascinating. There was just some great animation, a lot of good, I don't want to spoil too much, but like body horror in there.
Okay.
A lot of it was just like this, the ending really kind of hit me too, where it was just very devastating. It was a fantastic movie, fantastic animation. I really enjoyed it, and I was researching it. It seems to have influenced like a ton of, it was the reason why anime became so popular in America.
Right. Yeah.
Because it spurred like Dragon Ball Z. It reminded me of Dragon Ball Z a lot. Dragon Ball Z, and a lot of those anime came down here because people saw Akira. Also Ghost. I also watched Ghost in the Shell, which I liked all right, and not as much.
Scarlett Johansson.
Not the one with Scarlett Johansson. The anime.
That's right.
Which it was good. It was. I could see why people would really dig it. I guess it kind of was all old hat to me, just because maybe it's been so heavily influenced. And it also seemed more, I don't know. I think I just dug Akira more for a reason or another. It was also very Blade Runner-ish. Like the Neo Tokyo was really cool. Anyway, I just really dug the movie. I don't mean to go on too far about that.
No, I know it's like Kanye West's favorite movie.
It's supposed to be, yeah. And take that as you want to take it.
Yeah.
So, Adam.
Yes.
We both saw a movie the last 2 days.
Trey, I don't know about you, but I saw a film.
Oh, you're right. It was a film.
A film.
Oh,
a film.
A film. Both saw a film. Detroit by Kathryn Bigelows, Male Gigolo. Right?
That's the one.
Mm-hmm. What did you think about it? What did you think about the movie we saw?
The movie we saw, Detroit.
Rock City.
Kathryn Bigelows. I enjoyed it.
I thought it was a Detroit Rock City sequel, and I was disappointed.
Oh.
Wasn't
Yeah, well, that would have been unexpected.
Anyway.
Oh, no. Poor Trey. Came in with high hopes.
I was expecting Kiss and
rocking good time.
Yeah. Fun. Getting the girl, fighting bullies. None of that.
It wasn't fun.
No, it wasn't. I was going to joke. Oh, man, I didn't do my joke. It was the hit action cop comedy of the summer. The hit action comedy of the summer, buddy cop movie, right?
Oh, yeah. Those. One of them is racist. The other one doesn't understand games.
Yeah. So anyway, Detroit, it's based on the riots in 1967, right? That's what they said.
I believe that is correct.
I think one character blurted out the date just so we knew. It's like, oh, okay.
I think it says it off,
yeah,
off
it does.
the top.
Yeah. What did you feel about it?
I liked it a lot. I didn't like it as much as Dunkirk, but I thought it was a really good movie. I guess we can kind of start our way at the beginning, kind of work our way through. It kind of throws you in
The animation was kind of weird. I feel like that might have been just a last minute kind of thing.
The painting thing?
Might have been a last minute thing.
Yeah, and it did seem to, I don't know, try to offer some sort of
explanation for what's going on.
Yeah,
but I
some
feel
sort of background, but I think it probably could have happened without it.
Like I think if you're tapped in enough with American history, you kind of get 1960s. Yeah, okay, I can understand what's going on. But
yeah. So I don't know, and it goes and it just starts with the riots, and I think the first scene is pretty good, and the kind of open parts are pretty solid, and they kind of set it up, but it's really all just a setup for the one big scene at the Algiers motel, which I feel probably takes 45
It
minutes.
was most of the movie. It was definitely most of the movie, that one location.
Which is, I don't know. I mean, that's what the movie is. If you went in just kind of expecting it to be a greater story.
Did you? Because I kind of expected that. I thought it was about one event.
Right.
For me, yeah.
Yeah. I didn't really, I purposefully tried to avoid a lot of stuff about the movie. And so I knew it was about the riots in general. I wasn't super familiar with this story.
Yeah.
The one that they focused on in the Algiers hotel. And it is fucked up. And if anything, the movie probably maybe watered it down a little bit from what I read a bunch of stuff. A lot of stuff is still unknown.
That's always the weird thing about these based on history cases where a lot of the stuff is kind of still in the open as far as what happened here and there.
So there's witnesses' stories that kind of all line up. There's straight up confessions from two of the cops to what happened, but like how the first guy died, the guy who runs down the stairs and gets shot and killed, they don't know how he died. The alleged cap gun, the starter pistol that he had, was never found.
Which was that was maybe the part that kind of made me question a little bit. Just like, okay, well, was it really a cap gun? What really happened with that gun? What's going on with that? I don't know.
Apparently one of the girls.
And I guess
was
it doesn't
one.
matter.
It
Let
doesn't.
Me just put that
oh
out.
no,
yeah,
it doesn't matter. But I don't know. This may feel wrong to just kind of like skip the whole kind of beginning and the setup of the movie, but I just kind of want to get right into the the one big scene.
Sure.
Unless you have something.
The setup, it was very much. It reminded me of like Dunkirk. It just got into the action. The movie was very much like Dunkirk, where it just gets into the action. It doesn't. There's more character development in this movie, like with the singer guy and his friend, and then but again, it was very.
It's generally just kind of.
Even John Boyega, you had some character development with him. I thought he was fantastic in this.
His character is the one that I have the most questions about.
Okay, his involvement
out of anything. Well, there's just
why he was there.
The last third of the movie. I get why he was there, but then
I thought he was good acting, but
I think it was good. I mean, I don't know. He kind of stood around a bunch.
Yeah, that was the weird part.
And they kind of set him up to where he's like the cool, level-headed one, and he's the one who can bridge the gap between.
But he gets
the black protesters and the police.
I think he thought he was.
I think that's what he thought as well. And then the guy is like, "No, this guy's an Uncle Tom," and you're like, oh, "Okay, that's just a punk." But in the end, he kind of is an Uncle Tom,
a little bit.
Which may not be a cool thing to say.
No,
but
he was kind of expecting everything to be cool, and then he kind of gets fucked at the end a little bit.
Well, he doesn't.
He doesn't
get fucked.
No, he doesn't get fucked.
He doesn't roll on anybody.
No, you're right. Yeah,
and he gets charged. He doesn't get charged. He gets put on trial for fraud. In real life, the dude got put on trial for fraud and was originally a suspect in the murders. But he was cleared of both of them. But I mean, if he was there the whole time, which people said he was, and he just didn't offer any interesting testimony.
It was weird. He was just there, and he was kind of helping people, but he was kind of was letting it happen almost. Like just
that's one of the things which I think is probably a greater lesson about this is how many people were around and just said, "Yeah, we don't want to get dirty."
Like the state police were like, "It's not our jurisdiction."
The state police didn't do it. The National Guardsmen were like, "Sorry, man. Like, I'm out of here."
These 3 punk cops who were doing all this, and they were so like threatened by. It was just bizarro, and maybe it's just because of the casting, where they have the and what's his name, William, the main villain cop.
Poulter,
he was fantastic.
He was so good.
Like, that's got to be a hard part to play.
Yeah.
It's just a racist, jackass, evil person.
Right.
But, man, he was great. But, like, he looks like a little kid.
Yeah,
you know?
He does.
So it's like, maybe just, I thought it was great casting, but maybe just him as a person doesn't look that intimidating. So it's like, it just seems so easy to be like, okay, guys, get the fuck out of here.
Right.
This is not good, and it's, I don't know why they didn't do that.
One of the things that I thought was interesting about the actual case, which I feel is one of the things that I would say kind of waters it down.
Yeah.
The people who died in the motel were all teenagers.
Yeah.
In real life. And in this, they were all seemed older, mid-20s, where they're like mature. Like, these were kids. And they keep calling them kids in the movie, which, like, I don't know, kind of felt weird because Anthony Mackie's in there and he's like looks 35. Yeah. But the guy he's playing is supposed to be, I think he was supposed to be 20, 19 or whatever. And
that's weird.
Yeah.
Do you think maybe that's just a casting thing?
I think it was a casting thing.
Yeah. Where it's a little harder to get teenagers.
Right.
Yeah. Just timing and all that.
And
that's why they have like 20-year-olds playing high schoolers in movies.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. But I think so. Okay. So as far as like the emotion of the movie, it starts. I would say that like kind of you get the inclination of what it's going to be.
Yeah.
Kind of like when he shoots the guy with the groceries.
Yeah.
And
was that guy like? Why was he like? Was he? He didn't seem like he was stealing the groceries.
I think he was.
Oh, he was. The guy was just like walking out smiling.
I think he was looting the groceries.
Okay,
but there's like so much stuff going on.
Yeah.
And then he ran it, and so then that kind of sets it up.
Yeah.
And then the first like super tense scene where I was starting to think, okay, this is kind of like Dunkirk, is the one with the starter pistol.
Yeah.
When he's going and just sticking it in everybody's face.
Yeah, that was tense.
And doing it. And so then that's tense.
I thought, I mean, even the sniper in the window, which was a little girl, and they take out a little girl.
That's a real thing that happened too. Jeez. Did you not? That
was like an audible, like, oh God,
right.
For me, yeah.
Yeah. Apparently it was explained they thought that which I mean, I kind of get it from a police officer standpoint. If there's snipers,
that was the army or something,
right? That was the National Guard. I think
it's sort of the whole debate of that army should not be police officers because they're trained for war overseas. Right. They're trained for all this stuff, whereas it's a city. It's not
right.
Yeah,
and I could see how like if you feel like you're surrounded by snipers that you can't see, and that would be really scary.
Oh yeah.
Obviously it is. But apparently someone lit a match to light a cigarette, and they thought it was the flash of a muzzle.
Okay.
And then they just, like, shot up a random apartment building and killed a 4-year-old, which is nuts.
Yeah, that's nuts.
It's terrifying. Mm-hmm. So then they shoot off their starter pistol, which in the movie they explain is them trying to scare the cops. Mm-hmm. But
did you read any more into that?
I read that one of the girls said that they fired the starter pistol, and then one of the guys in the room all like their stories matched up.
Okay.
About that.
That was maybe the part I was a little shaky about.
But they didn't say what they were doing. I would tend to think that it probably would be them
fucking with people,
cops. Because otherwise, I think it would be easier if it wasn't that clear to make it part of the movie where, like, maybe he does do the thing where he shoots his shoots at his friend or whatever, and they do it as a joke, and then the police come, then it makes them super sympathetic.
Yeah.
But by making it, hey,
that makes
we're
it a
gonna
little more real.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
Right. So
like he was being an asshole, but that still
doesn't justify anything that happens. Yeah.
Exactly.
I
think that's kind of stuff I like though, in things like this, where it's one of those. I think people get caught in this, like, you know, and this is very relevant to stuff today. And it's always like, oh no, look, that kid wasn't a saint. But it's like, yeah, no one's a saint, but that doesn't mean that guy needed to die.
Where it's the Kathryn Bigelow got interested in this story after Ferguson.
Okay.
And I mean, to that extent where people are like, oh yeah, but I mean, you know, he stole some cigarillos before. And it's like, oh yeah, so he deserved to die?
I don't think so.
Oh
yeah.
But in the scene, so pretty much
there's a picture of him flicking off the camera.
Right.
Oh, that's punishable by death?
Right.
All right.
I think the movie really picks up from that point, and then it's terrifying.
It's a horror movie, like you're saying, you know. Yeah.
It's super scary.
Yeah.
In the way that, and I don't feel like there was a lot of, like, I don't know, Dunkirk, there were so many just like visual things, and I didn't really know. I would like to go back and rewatch that whole scene again to kind of figure out what it was that kind of drove the tension so high in that scene, because I don't feel there was a lot of like directing like tricks or anything like that. But I mean, obviously, but there was something about just whenever you would see the gun get pulled out, or like when he's face down and he puts the gun right next to his head, or anything like that, where it's
I think it's a lot of the acting,
super chilling. The acting is huge.
You know, that guy's off hinge, you know, and he's they're unpredictable. I think that's the unpredictability of these cops,
right?
You know, because it's a little, you know, it's, you know, we think of cops as one way or whatever, then it's like, oh, they can't do, oh, they did that, oh my god, and then when the dumb cop, I guess they're all dumb, but the dumb cop like kills the kid. You know, they were just trying to fuck with him. It's like, oh Jesus,
right.
And then it just, man,
which
it's, and then the scene where they're trying to escape, where they're just popping up everywhere and they're having a Metal Gear out of the place,
right? And then they couldn't get out.
Yeah,
that was scary.
Yeah.
I kind of got that feeling when they did the second one, where they were like, hey, you want to kill a guy?
Well, I think
and did it. I was like, oh, these guys are weirdly on the same level with this. And then
the army guy was like, yeah, I'll go kill him. Yeah, with that,
right?
Yeah. It's like, oh, okay.
And he just shot into the ceiling.
Yeah. And then I think that the moment might have been where you're realizing, okay, we're dealing with something else here, was when they shot the first guy and planted the knife, right? Just automatically.
Just
like, oh, here you go. Here's a knife. Yeah. That might have been sort of the spurring moment where you're like, okay, these guys are up to some fuckery right now. Yeah.
Yep. And
how do you feel? Do you have something else? Sorry.
I think I'm.
How do you feel about British actors playing American roles in very American settings in times?
You're talking about John Boyega
and the
Gilly.
Yeah, the white dude.
Oh, which
the main villain cop.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's British.
I didn't realize he was British.
He's been in a lot of American films.
Yeah, that's
like mostly, but he's a Brit.
Oh, okay.
Like, how do you feel about that?
I'm not. I don't have very strong opinions about it. I think that it's whoever's best for the role.
Yeah.
It's not like, come in here and take our gerbs. I think it worked, and I think that, you know, everybody who was in it did well with it, so I wouldn't complain. Like if Daniel Day-Lewis did a really shitty Lincoln, I would be like, oh, okay, that's I don't like that. Get him out of here. But
there's like a little part of me, like this sort of nationalist, like took our jobs kind of part of me that's like, why do the Brits have to come in here and play Americans? But then it's like, well, isn't acting playing someone else? Isn't it the art of pretending you're someone else and playing a part, playing a character? And then it's like, that's fine. It doesn't bother me at all, really. Like when I think about that rationally, it's like, oh, it's fine. You know, they're playing a part. That's what acting is.
We could have got a good American play a racist cop. God damn it.
But yeah, the movie wasn't written by a British person. I think maybe that would be a little more weird. But it was written by American, and then it was about it was directed by an American. Even then though, I mean, I don't know. I think the writing is the most thing I would have umbrage with if it wasn't necessary. I don't even know though. It's like.
How do you feel about
whatever.
Kathryn Bigelow and a white dude being the ones to take on this movie?
That's fine with me. Oh, I see what you're saying. Like a white writer.
Like this is probably not.
Yeah,
necessary. Like in that same vein, is this a white person's story to tell?
Right. That's a debate I don't think I can have.
I think that they did a really good job with it, and they've
I know
kind of shown that stuff.
Yeah.
I think it would be interesting to see what like an Ava DuVernay take would be.
Yeah. There's some movies where I do have like American History X. I think I liked that less when I realized the director was white, because I felt like it was over the top, but this is really over the top.
Where
it's a white dude,
where it's kind of like a torture porn sort of thing, where it's like a little too close to being something. They're like, and we can do that. That would be cool.
A lot of those scenes were extremely disturbing,
right?
Just like where it's like, I don't enjoy watching this. I mean, 10 Years a Slave. Like there were scenes that were extremely disturbing, but I'm like, okay, I understand why this is a scene. Right. American History X, it was just like, I felt like throwing up sometimes in that movie. Yeah. Anyway, this isn't American History X. So this is Dunkirk 2, Detroit. Yeah.
I'm trying to think of some of the other specific Dunkirkian moments. Obviously, just whenever they have their hands on the wall, and it's just permanently just like terrified.
I felt bad for like the two dudes who were just there. I guess I felt bad for all of them. Wait, so those two girls were prostitutes, right? It wasn't clear to me.
Yeah, I think they.
Okay.
I think they were. I know that they allegedly were sexually assaulted by the officers.
Yeah, there's some scenes where I thought it was going to be a rape scene,
and they were both stripped.
Yeah,
and all that kind of stuff.
There was definitely some. I'm like,
and that's apparently what pushed the cops was that those white girls were in a black guy's room, and it was that sort of
that
thing that really made them upset. One thing that I would think about during it is how long do you think that scene in the house took place in like real time?
In real time, all night.
You think?
Yeah, probably all night. From whatever. Yeah, I'm
like, I don't know, because it feels like forever in the movie,
but it's only a few. It's only an hour.
Or is it like an actual like 45 minutes? Is that like a real time thing?
No, I don't think it's real time. I
don't know either.
To be all night.
And anything I looked up, I couldn't find a real time frame for it. Apparently, also the beatings were more constant and severe.
But again, it can go into torture porn, like we were saying.
Right.
Yeah,
exactly.
After a while,
and at a certain point, I read some of the negative reviews on Rotten Tomatoes after, and that was, some people felt it kind of was that.
Really?
As it was, yeah. There weren't a ton.
It wasn't gratuitous.
No,
I mean,
I think it's important to
the
story to kind of, I don't know, shock.
Yeah.
But
I mean, maybe comparing it to Dunkirk, since I think a lot of people are, because there wasn't a lot of blood in Dunkirk, but I think I've seen a lot worse in movies. Like we just said, American History X.
Right.
I think there's been a lot worse. I don't think that was that gratuitous. I mean, there's definitely beatings and blood, but it wasn't. It wasn't like there wasn't a lot of, there wasn't a lot of imagery that they could have gone for.
Right.
Where it could have been a lot more in your face. I didn't think it was that gratuitous.
How did you feel about the end of the movie?
It was a little long. I felt like
That's another thing that I've read a lot of people saying is that they didn't like the end and that it dragged and that they kind of recapped. I felt
it was fine. It was just longer, you know. It was like because I felt like during the whole time they're in the house, I was like, okay, I didn't care about what time it was,
right?
And also like I wanted to make sure, you know, I wasn't getting out too late. But then like when it started, when John Krasinski walks in randomly, I'm kind of checking my phone, like, oh, okay, we got this many much more minutes left.
Yeah,
and I guess it's important to show kind of what happened after and the whole litigation.
And I think it is kind of important to show, you know, it wasn't just that, hey, here's a all-white jury and they got off. Where there's like, no, I mean, this girl's story changed and she didn't have things match up.
But they definitely made Krasinski look like an asshole.
Yeah. And I mean, the guy was.
Oh yeah, of course he was.
It's a lawyer. Yeah. It's a lawyer, and they're doing their job, whatever.
Well,
but it's like,
still an asshole.
Whatever. You're protecting awful people.
You're paid for that to be an asshole. You know, much money.
I
thought it was necessary to have all that though. Like even if it was a little long, it's still necessary. You still got to explain kind of what happened.
Right.
You know.
And I think it's. Yeah, I think it's good. I think that they probably could have done without the church scene.
Yeah. Maybe.
And because basically the end shows it in his little ending card thing when they catch back up with everybody. How do you feel about the like disclaimer?
Yeah, that was interesting. That a lot of it was kind of dramatized because they didn't really have every single account.
Right.
But that's kind of what we were talking about, how it is a little sketchy on all the details. Like all the details aren't necessarily known, so we have to kind of and you know, you also have people's biased in their testimonies.
Right.
So it's always going to be that way. I mean, that's every historical depiction. I thought this was done really well. And I liked kind of the documentary style and seeing the actual footage. I thought it was really cool. But
yeah, that was really cool.
How'd you feel about the disclaimer?
Kathryn Bigelow's known for being very judicious in research stuff. She did get sued for the Hurt Locker because someone said, this is basically my story or whatever. They ended up winning. Kathryn Bigelow ended up winning.
Okay.
But this, I think that those cops could have a very good argument. They changed their names.
Yeah.
Which I was actually reading a thing which actually kind of opens up anyone who was in the Detroit police force at that time to be able to file suit. I don't know how well those lawsuits would go, but
so the whole Detroit police force could sue for this movie, you're saying?
Essentially, because by kind of trying to hide behind, and it's also super easy. Those guys are still alive.
Yeah,
at least two of them are, I think. Just look up the case and you find their actual names.
Oh,
which
yeah,
I'm sure they're super excited about.
I'm sure they are. I mean, you said two of them confessed though, right?
Right, the two guys who went in to talk to their officer, those
two guys,
they confessed, but they weren't read their Miranda rights.
Oh, that's why they threw it all out.
They threw it out.
Okay. Wow. Huh.
Yeah.
There you go. So those two guys confessed after a while, but the third guy didn't.
Right.
Okay. And they all changed their names. They're just living their lives now.
They changed the names for the movies. I don't know if I don't think they changed their names in real life.
Okay. So you could still look those guys up.
Right. Because you can just look up the Wikipedia page for it, and
I mean, yeah, I guess they could sue. I mean, what?
Because they were found
not guilty
in a court of law, which
it's depicted them as extremely guilty.
I don't. So
that's interesting.
I don't really know.
I'd be interested in seeing what happens with that.
I don't know what exactly would constitute.
Do you think they would just even want to? Do you think they would even want to even touch it? Just like
try to
avoid
to stay out of it.
Yeah. It's like, hey, I'm just not even going to touch this because that could even blow up more in their face. You know?
Yeah.
Because I'm sure they're getting a lot now, but I'm sure who really gives a shit about them though?
Right.
But it's still like. It's almost like what Dan McDowell says, when you apologize, you just bring more attention to it.
And then you're like, oh, why are you?
Oh, you're the guy. Oh,
yep.
Okay. We know your face and know what you really look like.
Right.
And now you're on TV. Yeah. It might be good for them not to sue.
Right.
Just leave it as it is.
And then what was the other thing that I was wanting to bring up? Oh, Trey, I've forgotten.
Adam.
Well, anyway.
How many labs and a halves do you give this?
0 labs.
0 labs.
But I'll give it a lot of halves.
A lot of halves.
Let's see, 8 halves. What is it? So that's 4.
That's 4 stars for 8 halves.
I would say it's either a 4 or 4.5.
It's
out of 5.
Yeah, it's a really good film. It's weird. It reminds me of sort of that and Dunkirk. Remind me of when No Country for Old Men and There Will Be Blood were up, because they're both very similar movies, and they're both up for. I'm sure both those movies are going to be up for Academy Awards. Up for all the awards.
Yeah, I would think. Man, I don't know. I mean, maybe I don't think it's an adapted screenplay because they didn't do it off the book. So I think it could be screenplay. I think that.
Acting.
Acting.
Yeah,
I think so.
Yeah.
And then maybe director.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised. There were times when I didn't necessarily feel like it was a Oscar movie.
Sure, but
quote
I think
unquote.
it will be nominated because of.
I think it could be. I'm gonna guess it. That's what I want to say.
Oh.
My mom lived in Detroit at this time.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she lived on 9 Mile.
Okay.
So she wasn't downtown.
Right next to the 8 Mile.
Mm-hmm. But she was like close to it, and she says she remembers she was like 8 or 9 at the time. So she remembers just like a tank rolling down her street.
Jeez.
Yeah. She said it was terrifying.
Yeah, I bet.
And then they moved to the suburbs, like.
Well, that's what they're saying. All the whites moved to the suburbs.
Yep.
Your mom is part of the problem.
She's white flight.
She's white flight.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Adam, we realize that you're part of the problem now.
Yep, that's me.
Yeah, little Adam, part of the problem.
Mm-hmm.
No, it was a great film. I enjoyed watching it. I think people should go see it. It definitely makes you pissed off afterwards. You're kind of angry.
Especially because it feels like it doesn't necessarily feel like something that could happen today, but there's certain aspects where you're like, this feels very very similar to other things that I've seen.
I mean, I think nowadays it's I'm sure we could get into arguments and the whole I'm sure people can argue with us about it, but it doesn't seem like it's a whole city is like that. It seems more individual based nowadays.
Right. Yeah.
But you still have the cop will defend the other cop regardless of what happens. You still get that all the time.
Yeah.
And I think that's still the problem is that it's a brotherhood, which it should be, but it should also be accountable. And I don't think some cops are accountable for others' actions. Because I think you get a lot of assholes. But I mean, I have good friends that are cops, and I've talked to them, and it's you get a lot of people who have chips on their shoulder. A lot of them aren't college educated. They just go in because they're angry or they're ex-military and they got chips on their shoulder and they just want to punch some heads in, and you get a lot of that. And maybe it should be I don't know how. And again, hey, if there's a cop who wants to get on, by all means, let us know what I'm getting wrong. Let's,
Mm-hmm.
But it from what I've taken, I don't want to be the, I've taken some classes on this, but for, statistically, the police force, you don't want to get the guy who's highly educated because they're going to think logically. They're not going to think, instinctively. You want someone to be instinctively because they might get killed if they're just thinking about logic.
Mm-hmm.
You need to have instinct. And I think that might be the issue with some of these cops are bringing in. But hey, that's a whole issue I'm not qualified to talk on, so why am I even talking about it?
Yeah, we talk about movies. Yeah,
stick to sports. I'm sorry I brought that up.
Sometimes movie cross over to real life. Sometime movie does that.
Yeah, sometime.
Sometime movie made with computer.
Yeah. Yeah, sometimes whole movies are made with whole computers.
So.
All right. Well, I'm sorry I just opened that Pandora's box. And send all your complaints to what I said to Adam at Adam Fullerton on Twitter. He was the one making fun of cops.
Yeah,
on this podcast.
That's what you were doing too.
No,
you were just mocking them.
Just mocking them. I got good friends that are cops. Anyway, thanks for listening. Let us know what you think of this podcast. Do you have anything else to add, Adam? I guess.
No, I'm good. You can bury your own grave. I'll stay out of it.
Great. Thanks for listening to Super FilmsCast 64. I apologize to the whole police force.
You're fine.
I apologize to everybody in the world today, sports. Thanks for listening. Please leave us a comment on the iTunes thing. Give us a little give us a little review, 4 stars, or get the fuck out of here. Throw your phone out the window if you want to give us lower than 4.
Here's the thing: put 4 stars
or 5. I don't know what it goes up to.
I think it only goes to 4.
Maybe.
All right. So write this exactly. This podcast made me reevaluate how I feel about my civil servants.
Yeah.
I now believe that my tax dollars are going down the toilet. I will not pay them anymore, and it is specifically due to this podcast.
Yeah, write that.
Come get me, Uncle Sam. Suck these nuds. Trey forever.
Eat a dick. Love me, the reviewer.
Yep.
Yeah.
4 stars.
4 stars. Thank you for listening. Let us know what we could do better on this podcast. Please like, share, subscribe, do all that fun stuff. Tell your friend. Tell a friend. Tell a coworker.
You know what? If you tell a friend, and they tell 2 friends, and then they tell 2 friends, and then the next thing you know, you're king of the Ponzi scheme.
you got all the dough. You're rolling in that Super FilmsCast dough.
We don't charge, but you could. You could say, hey, I've downloaded this sweet
I got this
cast
on a CD. I burned it on a disc.
Yeah.
You can have it for monies.
Yeah, we won't come after you.
Yeah, we won't come after you. But thanks for listening. Where can they find you, Adam?
I'm on Twitter at the Fullerton.
You got any cool shows coming up?
On Thursday, I have a improv show at Dallas Comedy House, Watermelon, with Stan. Stan is the troupe we're opening for.
Oh.
So
okay.
We'll see. We're doing a little music thing.
Oh.
Adding a new little wrinkle to the old Watermelon show.
Are you a showman, Adam?
Am I a showman?
Can you sing and dance?
No, not at all.
All right. Well then, forget it. I'm not going.
All right.
I'll only go if you sing and dance.
I'm not a triple threat, Trey.
All right.
I'm not even a regular threat.
You can just act. You can just improv. You can find me at CrayTreyVids on Twitter. Go to YouTube and search CrayTrey, and you should find me there. And like all my shit, and please give me praise because I'm desperate for praise.
Oh.
And admiration.
Of course.
Yeah. Thanks for listening. Have a great day.
Goodbye.
It's called a road, it's called a rainbow road. It is a road that you go. It's called a road, it's called a rainbow road. And you will know when you get there. It's called a road, it's called a rainbow road. It is a road that you go. It's a road that you go when you die. It's a road called Rainbow Road. It's a road we're all gonna go. It's a road called Rainbow Road. It's got Princess Peach, Mario, and the Toad. It's a road called Rainbow Road. It's a road we're all gonna go. We'll go. It's Rainbow Road. It's where you go when you die. It's Rainbow Road. I'll miss you again, Uncle. It's Rainbow Road. It's where you go when you die. It's Rainbow Road. I'll miss you again on Rainbow Road. It's called a road. It's called a Rainbow Road. It is a road that you go.